Here it comes from the fabulous penthouse studios of Business 1110 KTEK. This is The Price is Right. This is The Price of Business. Author of the hugely influential Empowerment to the People, award-winning, nationally syndicated columnist Kevin Price brings a fresh perspective to business news and the events that shape our lives. And now, here is the star of The Price of Business, Kevin Price.
Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Glad to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. Very delighted to see my good friend Annette Monks.
Thank you.
Here in the house. I tell you, I always enjoy seeing, when I look at my list, whenever I come in to do the show, I'm always happy to see you on it.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad to be here and happy to see you.
Yeah. So Carlton Staffing is what you do, and what you do is you literally liberate business owners from the shackles of really an insanely hostile government environment, in my opinion, when it comes to employers having employees. You literally unshackle them. Tell us more about what you do.
Yes, we are the liberators.
You're the liberators.
Yes, Carlton Staffing. We place temp to hire and direct hire positions in really any office environment, any type of position in the office, including accounting, and out in the warehouse, including skilled trade. And we have specialty divisions. We have Carlton Accounting, and we also have a company called KTEK that does placement in engineering and IT. And from our KTEK group, I'd like to welcome Mike Azocar, who is VP of IT for Seamless Solutions, and he works with our KTEK group. So welcome. Happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Mike, kind of give us the elevator speech of what Seamless Solutions is all about.
So Seamless Solutions is a office equipment provider. Award-winning, actually. We just received a Circle of Excellence from Rico for that. And it's also an IT managed service provider, which is the division that I run.
Very good, Annette.
So tell us a little about your background and in this business.
Sure. So I have an interesting way of getting into the IT business. Law was my background, and I was always a tinkerer with computers. And when I'm sitting in there and I'm rebuilding an IBM XT computer, this is about 1987 to 1988, sometime around that time frame. And my mom actually tells me, she goes, "Why don't you do computers for a living?" And I literally looked at her and I said, "People get paid to do computers?" So I moved in that route, and I kind of went that route, and I actually became a computer guy. And I spent about the last 10 years at Microsoft, and I've come into this business from there.
And when was that? When did you start this business?
We've been here. I came on earlier this year. This business has been around since 1983.
Very good, Annette.
So I like how you talk about how you differentiate yourselves from other companies that will call themselves IT providers, service providers. Talk to me about that.
Sure. Well, so one of the big differences that we do is we look to partner with our customers, right? We are trying to bring the enterprise level IT services to the small and medium businesses. So really, you're getting an IT partner with us. So we look at how your company is doing its business and how IT enables you. Rather than being a blocker, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but instead of being a blocker, IT is really something that enables you to be competitive in the marketplace.
Talk about, you talk about offering services to a certain size. Why don't you narrow that down just a little bit in terms of your sweet spot, I guess? Sure,
yeah. We're looking at businesses between about 10 employees and about 50 employees. That's kind of our sweet spot. I have some that are outside of it. I have some that are a lot bigger, but I have some that are a lot smaller as well. But our sweet spot is at 10 to 50. It's a good size.
And you feel like that's been a largely underserved?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you can see that by kind of the Microsoft focusing on that, Amazon focusing on it. The big boys are looking at that because that is actually where the money really is.
Annette?
So you refer to yourself as an MSP, a managed service provider, and you've talked to me about your business people first, technology second, which I really think is great. And you've also talked to me about, in your business, the model is that you leverage a volume of clients.
Correct.
And but I think you do things just a little bit different.
We do. We spend a lot more time up front, kind of getting to know the business, getting to know what you guys are doing, what your goals are, and how technology helps you with those things. So really, if you look at it, we spend more money on learning how you are doing your business, so we see what we can do to help you be more successful.
So the next question I have for you on that, if you spend more money on them than the typical does this make you more expensive like a boutique firm, or talk to me about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, we're very competitive because what I've done with the teams and what we have is we have a lot of automation and technology that really helps us to do a lot of the rote tasks with automation. So we can actually focus on the things that enable you and make your business better.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about the verticals that you work in, type of industries that tend to gravitate towards.
Sure. So we really don't have a specific vertical. We do have quite a bit in the law offices. I have everything from a small dentist office to very large medical practices. So it's really across the board. It's really any company that's looking to utilize their technology to enable where they're trying to go.
Do you? I mean, all three of your examples were professionals.
Mm-hmm.
How big of a percentage of that business would you say are professionals, from accountants to lawyers to doctors?
I would say it's quite a bit. I say probably 40% of our business in that is in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Annette?
So what are some typical issues these days that you see a lot that your customers are asking for help with?
Sure. Right now, business continuity is a big thing. Mm-hmm. So what happens, when the next hurricane hits? How much money will I lose if my business is down because of something like that? So that's a big issue right now. So figuring out how we make sure that you can maintain your business and lose the least amount of money when you're going to have a downtime, because there is a hurricane. Mm-hmm. There's a hurricane.
Well, I know what I'm doing. I'm leaving.
You had an interesting metric about that regarding 9/11.
Yeah, absolutely. So during 9/11, when the attack happened, and it was horrible attack. About 80 to 85 of the businesses that were in the World Trade Center never opened their doors again. Right. So business continuity was kind of just really the seeds were being sown at that point in time. But that's a great example of how if you don't have a plan when the unexpected happens, you're not going to be around.
Yeah. Think about, how substantial any business would have been if it was in World Trade Center and it still couldn't survive that. Of course, one of the reasons why is that a lot of the C-level people died in that. I mean,
Absolutely.
They literally died. It had nowhere to go, if you know what I mean. And so, and they weren't publicly owned, so it made it difficult. But yeah, continuity is huge.
Absolutely.
And so do you create contingency plans in advance to help these businesses, and what do they look like?
Well, so it really depends on the type of business. The cloud is really, the democratization of the cloud technologies is really, really helping us to do that. So you can go at a low cost point in and help them to make sure that critical systems are online or can be brought back online in a remote location very quickly. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, today with the competition in the marketplace, you really have to, your markets are really not just localized anymore. You're dealing with customers across the country. Just because we have you have a fire in Houston or a hurricane in Houston, you probably still need to be able to service your branch in Atlanta and your customers on the West Coast, right? The cloud really lets you do that and take that into account.
And then we got about a minute left. Do you want to wrap it up?
Absolutely. So what's on the horizon? I think what you're talking about right now is one of the things that you told me before, but
yeah, so definitely we're going more into the business continuity planning and looking at that. The other thing is we're looking at something called mobility management, right? So that's a new offering that we're looking at right now. And really what this is the ability to, from your centralized office, be able to manage your data on mobile and your devices that go out in the field. Really, with things like rights management and other technologies, you have the ability to really down to the individual documents secure your corporate assets on devices. So imagine if I've got an iPhone, I'm walking out in the field, and I've got my customer list, I've got my email, and I've got all my contacts. I decide I'm going to leave. Well, today that data may walk out the door.
Right.
Today, and with the mobility suite, you can actually push a button and nuke that data on the device,
and not anything else on their device.
Exactly,
that's good.
The user's device exactly as it was. So I think that's our next big push.
Sounds very, very interesting. Thanks so much again, Annette Monk. She is with Carlton. Do you want to give both of your websites if you like? I don't like to do that too often because that just confuses people.
Yeah, carltonstaffing.com and then carltechusa.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Mike Azocar, the best website for him apparently is seamlesssolutions.com.
Correct.
Yeah, check that out, seamlesssolutions.com. Great interview. Thanks to both of you.
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right, when we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, Beth's best content here, including this interview, will be found over there at usdailyreview.com. While they're like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.